You're listening to 101 Part-Time Jobs with me, Giles Bidder. This is the show where we hear from musicians and bands about what it looks and feels like to be an artist today in the streaming era. I've always felt a connection with bands that I like, to know their story and to kind of understand some of the context of it. And that's what I hope to do with this show, to learn about the people and the stories behind the records that we get into. And Superheaven are a band that's always just done their own thing. They got 2 records out, Jar in 2013, Hours in Chrome 2015, and now they're going to release their 3rd album, their first in 10 years on the dot, produced by Will Yip, this Friday. It's got that amazing heavy crush sound. So it was great to catch up with Jake and Taylor, hear about the differences of the years going forward. And so this is them on 101 Part-Time Jobs. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. If you're able to leave 5 stars on Spotify or Apple, if that's not cheeky of me asking. If you want to subscribe, we put out 2 episodes every week with good bands, great artists. Love to have you here. All right, after the jump, it's Jake and Taylor from Superheaven here on 101 Part-Time Jobs. 101 Part-Time Jobs. 101 Part-Time Jobs just reached 400 episodes, and we won 2 awards at the Independent Podcast Awards. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us. The reason we've been able to keep going is because of sponsorship. We've been lucky enough to work with some brands who we believe in and we understand the message of, and we hope you do too. This episode is sponsored by DistroKid. If you're looking for a way to put out your music, if you have a friend, a niece, a nephew that doesn't quite know how to get their music up on Spotify or Apple, tell them to head to DistroKid, where you can be your own record label effectively. That was a dream 10 years ago. I wish I had that growing up. But for an affordable price, you can go on DistroKid. Head to distrokid.com/VIP/101pod to get 30% off your running costs there for the first year. So if you've made a record and you're not quite sure what you wanted to do with it, you can head to DistroKid and release it yourself. distrokid.com/VIP/101pod for 30% off your first year. Right now, we'll get back to the episode. From an outsider's perspective, you know, like in punk and hardcore, obviously, you know, you're always going to kind of think about the bands you like with alongside the bands they tour with. And so I think of you like Balance and Composure and Tiger's Jaw and Basement. And a lot of those bands, including you, are like frozen in time. And not all bands are like that. Not all scenes are like that.
Yeah, I think we have a cool scene in that you can kind of listen to it. It stands the test of time. And I think that's hard, you know, like, is crabcore as cool as it was, you know, 15 years ago? I don't
100%. 100% it is. It's cooler than it's ever been.
Well, there you go. We just stay the same. But no, it's sick, man. It's sick that like people like, you know, our era of people still can mess with it. And then with bands like us and like Basement, we kind of got like a whole younger following again too out of this internet phenomenon. So it's great, man. More people to the show is awesome.
Turnstile made guitar music. Turnstile made rock music cool again. And I think just younger people are like, oh, damn, I've been listening to freaking Future and Young Thug all this time. I didn't know cool shit was out there. Listen, Future and Young Thug's cool enough. Don't take me out of context. I'm just saying that a lot of young people had no idea that exciting live rock music was even a thing until, you know, they went to see Suicide Boys and Turnstile was there playing, and they were like, this is the most exciting thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm thankful that we have had younger people kind of like hop on board with our band in the past couple of years, and because I don't really want to be playing for a bunch of 35-year-olds in jean jackets drinking a beer. Like I mean, I'm happy that they're there. Don't get me wrong. Those are likely our day ones, but that's not what I want to do with music. Music is for the youth largely, and I feel like if you're not getting young people excited about it, then it might suck. Or not. If it doesn't suck, it's at least like it's dated. You know what I mean? And like I don't want to be dated. Like we're not super young guys or anything, but I would like to think that we still make music that young people can enjoy. And if I didn't think that we could, then I probably wouldn't want to do this.
Was it TikTok then? Because I'm on TikTok with this show, but I don't really follow it that much. Is that how a bunch of people... Did you get a TikTok song?
Yeah, it's the TikTok thing was part of it. It seemed like things were picking up and we were kind of catching on with younger people in general, kind of right before that started happening, and that just sort of like sent it over the edge where it was like, okay, like a lot of people are finding out that we exist, that either didn't know or previous were like, I didn't know this band rocked like this. And it's cool. A lot of people think that like we resent it or something, but we are too also not TikTok guys. Um, I don't know anything about it, and so I'm pretty like on the outside of the whole thing, but I know enough about it to know that it's just kind of like it makes us it made us money. It continues to make us money, so there's really no downside. Um,
Well, you
and
saw a direct. Is that making money from TikTok, or is that people going over to
no,
Spotify?
Yeah, you go to the Spotify and come to the shows and
Yeah.
just, you know, but it makes everything better as far as the band, especially for a band like ours too, because like we had that following and we had the disc before
Yeah.
TikTok. Like these bands, some bands just strive to have, one TikTok song, and it's like, can you play, man?
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
have an
yeah,
amp? Do you even have
yeah.
a band? Like, do you know how that shit works? Have you slept on floors? I don't think so.
You must have been pretty knackered when you like took that break, and I know you said it wasn't like a full break, but it was like a break of sorts, right? Were you fucking knackered? Were you just tired out by that point?
Worn down.
incredibly,
Yeah.
2015, 2016.
and just like discouraged. Like this
Yeah.
band has never been like a. I've never had necessarily career aspirations for the band, but we spent a lot of time, like basically all of the decade of our 20s, just touring and trying to like be the best band that we could be. And I think we definitely cared too much about a lot of things. Like I think that's just the nature of most bands is, and you have a lot of people that you're working with that are kind of like, you guys should do this. Like, here's what you should do next. And, unfortunately, you get kind of worn down and then you're like, all right, fine, we'll do that. And
You're like
now it's
second
like,
guessing your stuff.
Yeah.
yeah, not even second guessing, just like, we think you guys should make this funny video for your music video for the record. And we're like, I don't really think that's funny or want to do that. And then you kind of get pressured and then you do it and you're like, we should have just been like, fucking no, man.
Yeah.
And now that's where we're at now. We're just like, if we don't want to do something, we're just like, yeah, man, we're not doing that. Respectfully, no. And I think now it's just like making the record and everything. It's easy because we do have that decade or so of touring and like just kind of eating shit and learning a lot of hard lessons. And now we're just like, if we don't want to do it, we're not doing it. If it doesn't seem fun or cool, we're not doing it. And you know, every every like relationship that we enter now, whether it be label or management, whatever, we're kind of like, we're happy to work with you, but it has to be our way. And everyone has been very cool with us and kind of more lenient than I think most labels or managers are in music.
It's fucking growing in public. It's a lot like comedians, I think, apart from comedians don't have a special that's always on your Discogs or like a video that's on YouTube forever. And I imagine that can be a painful thing. Like,
Yeah, it fucking sucks. It sucks. You know how many things, I mean, even on my own end, like there's definitely like interviews or live videos of us playing where I'm just like, man, it sucks that was a bad set. Like sometimes you just don't have a good night and that someone just takes a video and it's online for the end of time. And I mean, I try not to dwell on it because I know that I'm not alone in that. Like pretty much everyone I know has some video or some quote of them or like an interview or something online where they're like, this is like so embarrassing that this exists.
Mm-hmm.
But it also doesn't, I mean, unless it's like a total, it's got to be a real folly for it to like follow you until the end of time. Like I would like to think that maybe there's a friend group here and there that like their inside joke is an embarrassing video of me or something. And I don't want to know anything about it, but I'm sure that exists. And I'm sure all of my friends have that exists in some context, but it's just like, unfortunately, you can't think about it.
everyone has that. If you go onto the first Facebook photos of you, you know, when you'd go on a night out and then someone would upload 150 photos the next day and you're just doing stupid stuff.
Yeah, that person's an enemy, by the way. The person that posts 150 photos of a private hang, that person needs to go to jail.
Did that fuck with you? Like, you know, when you start a band, and especially in these scenes, and scenes for lack of a better word, but that's what it is, right? It's like they're basically strangers that you recognize at shows regularly. It's like when you're in a band, you're put on a pedestal, and you know, anyone can feel like eyes on them when they walk down to a show that you're not playing. And so there's this kind of minor celebrity aspect of it. Did that like fuck with you? Does that fuck with you now?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to say that it doesn't, but it's weird. It's embarrassing, and it always has been embarrassing because you're not shit. I'm not better than anyone else. I'm not like, I don't feel like I'm on a pedestal. I feel like I don't get recognized walking down the street. I don't like, you know, I really don't get much benefit from being a person that strangers know. So it's kind of just like you just feel the negative of being like I said, there might be a video or a tweet of mine or something that like people I don't even talk to or associate with just send each other and they're like, remember this fucking prick? And there's nothing I can do about that. But it definitely, yeah, it fucks with me. It used to fuck with me a lot worse when I was younger because, you know, I am very sensitive. My feelings get hurt very easily. And it's less so now, but I do, it is difficult for sure because, you know, like I said, people know who we are and I don't know who they are. It's not like I'm getting a free bed out of it. You know what I mean? I'm not getting a free Casper mattress out of being known. It's like, so you kind of being like a low level musician, you're kind of just get the negative side of
you get all the bad sides of it.
Like, I mean, like, listen, occasionally someone will come up to me at a show and they'll say something very complimentary and sincere. And that is nice. That means something. At the same time, I don't really take compliments very well. So that is its own fucking war. But yeah, I mean, most of it is really just like someone saying like, oh, this new Superheaven song's fucking mid. And then you're just like, I don't even know what you look like, man. Like,
but you know, like all of those comments that are coming out are, and it's like a phrase. It feels like a TikTok phrase. We are so back. You know, there's a lot of love for it.
Oh, sure. And I really try not to pay too much attention to it at this point because it does hurt my feelings a lot. Because, you know, sometimes it is, you know, you get a little chuckle out of it. You're like, it's kind of funny. And you keep scrolling. And then I move on with my life. And that's really kind of the extent of it. There are people that the algorithm will cut you deep, man. There are people that show up on my timeline regularly. And the only reason they show up on my timeline is because they say negative things about a band I'm in. And those people, would I see some repeat offenders and I remember, I'm like, I feel like he has like a personal vendetta. And that's when it kind of starts to like get me mad. Like it doesn't hurt me, but I'm like, what did we do to this guy? Like this is the 5th tweet I've seen from him saying, you know, it was torture having to see us live while he waited to see another band. And I'm like, hey man, like go talk to somebody or something.
It's society. That's just fucking what happens, isn't it? People are jerks. People are dicks.
Yeah, nobody that's ever made anything cool or interesting has anything negative to say about our band, to my knowledge. It's always just it used to bother me a lot more, for sure.
You gotta have at least a few haters. If you don't,
how do you know if you're doing it right?
Exactly. If you put out something, everyone's like, "Oh, good job, everyone," then you're like, it's not good. Then maybe it actually does suck.
You need haters to make steam. You can't just have.
Exactly.
Just, you know, it's got to be the cold and the hot freaking battling each other to make steam. You know what I mean? So if you got no haters, your band fucking sucks, dude. None of your friends will tell you, but your band sucks. If you don't have people being like, this sucks, this is mid, then you're doing something wrong.
I guess, you know, this show's called 101 Part-Time Jobs. It's because people who play in bands fucking do that. Like, what are your personal stories about, like, reconciling being part of this beautiful thing that so many people respect, and, like, people go to the shows are like, this is what I work so I can spend my money on this. Yeah. For you to be on the opposite side and then go home and be skint, have not very much money at all and try to keep on doing it. I mean, I imagine that's a lot of feelings. This is like a big question to like pose, but did that take you a few years to figure out and feel like some kind of balance or normality in that?
I will say that the music industry has changed as far as like streaming and stuff. So people can make a living wage off of being in a band now, which is awesome. That's what you always want.
If your band does well.
If your band
if
does
nobody's
well,
listening, you can't be. You're not making shit.
and it can afford you, to just focus on your art, and that's so cool. That's like what you want in life. But to like keep going with that is we were in a point in our career of not having any money. I think we lived. I know we did. We lived off $5 a day or per diem, and you got to see how long you're going to stretch that at Taco Bell. And you go pretty far, but you play the show. I mean, there's a show. I think when in 2013 we played this fest called Blood Fest in somewhere in America, but it was like the first time people like went off our set. Like people are like jumping off the stage, and like we just had a great time. And it is weird to then come back and then be like. I go back to my parents' house. I'm like 21 at the time. I go back to my parents' house and I'm sitting in the basement. I'm like, oh, there's really no future. And then we go out on a tour and then we play a show to like 10 people and it's like, this didn't go up. It just kind of we had a little peak and little peaks and valleys.
I think I have sort of a complex relationship with this whole thing and being a musician and stuff because on one hand, I am truly not equipped to do almost anything else. I've had a number of jobs. I've been totally miserable at them. Music is kind of the only thing I like to do, but at the same time, so much of being in a band is like, I'm not cut out for that either. And that's like, especially now because our band has done better and, we come home from tour now with like a little bit of money in our pocket and I don't have to be like, well, I either have to do a bunch of freelance graphic design work. Like I've been afforded the luxury. I hate doing graphic design. I'll be honest. I hate doing like 90% of the things. Anything I have to do, I'm just like, oh man, like what a cruel life. And I don't know what that is. I don't know what that comes from, but having had to do a number of pretty miserable jobs, part-time or full-time, it is a blessing to now be in a spot where we grinded it out and it felt like there was no payoff until now, which is kind of unusual because we're not super young guys or anything, but
that doesn't happen to most bands.
No, it doesn't.
That's fucking rare.
Yeah, for sure. And we're definitely lucky, but then there's a whole other end where I'm like, wow, now this is my job. And I wrestle with the fact of like I said, if I have to do something, I really resent it. Mm-hmm. And now I have to do it. But at the same time, I do love it. It's just like, now it's my job. And that's a complex balance.
Imagine growing up, like whether it's school or like work, doing the band is like a subversive way to live. It's like an alternative lifestyle. That's part of the allure. That's part of the love for it.
I just wanted to see the world. I think that was my thing. I never got to leave my house. Like I never went anywhere really on vacation besides like Florida every year. So I remember being 17 and a drummer at the time being like, we got a tour offer for Australia. And I was just like, all right, let's go. Why not? Yeah. It was a miserable fucking time, but it was so cool to get out of the house. And then that was the first time I ever went to the UK was with Superheaven. Be able to afford flights and get there. And at the end of the tour, you do the spreadsheet and you're like, all right, well, here's $5 for everyone, or like, oh, I think we made enough now that we can buy a van. But I remember a highlight of the band was when we bought our first van. We had a red van that we used from our drummer or from our bassist, and we bought a van in like New York, and we're driving home with two vans. We're like, yo, we did it. We got a 12-passenger van. It was
we paid in cash, and they did not like it. They were not happy about it. I thought they would be thrilled.
Yeah.
Because it was like an independent car dealership. And I was like, they're going to love that we roll up with like an actual bag of cash. Granted, it was like 20s and stuff. So he was probably resented that. But I mean, we bought it straight up with cash. And
he's not paying tax on that, is he?
No.
Or she?
Or that, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, but that van reeked. I don't know. I think they used to use it to like go to and from the fish market or something because the carpet was like, it took us forever for it to not smell like that. And to be honest, I think we just got used to it. I don't think it stopped smelling that way.
Yeah, and then the AC stopped working, and then if you turn too much, it would just shut off. But it was cool. It was ours. We bought it with cash that we,
Yeah, fuck yeah.
over a year of touring.
Just to back up a little bit, but I should have said when you said it, but I mean, you're getting streams. I looked at your Spotify, and by the way, this is so gross to talk about like bands and music and art and like talk about fucking streaming numbers, but hey, it's worth saying. It's like you got like 3 million Spotify listeners, which is a lot for an alternative rock band.
Definitely.
Yeah.
There's not the Counting Crows.
Yeah. Thank you, Turnstile.
Yeah.
Thank you, Turnstile and Deftones, the two coolest rock bands in the world right now. I mean, Turnstile makes sense to me because they're very like modern and they're like a specific thing. But Deftones coming back around is something that like has confused everybody on planet Earth.
Yeah.
I think even them.
Chino Marino
yeah.
looks fucking. He's looking good.
I was in a literal stadium watching them last week.
Damn.
I mean, probably 20,000 people, just like in Philadelphia. So like, it's not your New York, it's not LA. It's Philadelphia. There's 20,000 kids or people, old people, young people. The Pit mostly had young people, but
I mean, I think it's no coincidence that like us and a band that we've played a million shows with and are close friends with, like Basement, have had like a similar thing happen in the last couple years where they also have like a huge song that has just been like, virally shared around the internet and has brought like a lot of attention to their band, and they're bigger than ever because of it. And
which one is it for Basement?
Covet, yeah.
Okay.
And same with Title Fight too. I think a pretty popular song too.
And that's like TikTok and people doing their dances to it, is it?
It's the way kids find music, That's their MTV or like and the box, or like we had channels over here that we would watch and just like music videos be playing constantly. And that was my like source of like, oh, this is what Slipknot sounds like.
And the older people would be like, what the fuck are you watching that for? MTV?
Exactly.
That ruined my life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't want
like, what's wrong with it?
Yeah, exactly. I never want to sound like a boomer and be like, "Oh, this TikTok shit." It's like, nah, I mean, that's cool, dude. If that's how you're finding music and like finding what feels good to you, that's sick.
101, 101, part-time jobs. 101, 101, 101, part-time jobs. New record is sick. It's like every bit has like a ooh, every bit has a groove to it. Every bit's got like a woo. It's rad. It's a great listen.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
What are you going to do? What do you do on release day? I mean, it's been a little while.
I was talking to somebody years ago, and they were saying that release day when you put out a record is like the most underwhelming feeling ever. And it truly, it's not. I guess by definition it's kind of underwhelming because it's you spend all this time writing it, you spend all this time recording it. The label and the manager, everyone's got like a strategy for putting it out. And, there's so many decisions and conversations that happen leading up to it, especially this one, more so than ever.
Yeah.
And Friday is going to be just any other day for us, for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully it's sunny out. I can sit out in my backyard and play with my dogs. That would be awesome. That would be a win for me, but.
Hopefully you don't run out of loo roll. Just like something really banal. Yeah. Just like, oh, fuck's sake. Today?
And then not only that, like you put all that time and effort in, and then like, some 22-year-old listens to it and they're just like, they listen to like 40 seconds of it and they just comment on our post about it, just like mid.
They're lost. They're lost in the.
Outbreak's going to be great.
Yeah, super excited for that. I mean, the first Outbreak we played was awesome.
2022?
Yeah. You know what's funny? Because we were supposed to play a different festival, I think in 2020 or something like that. And it got canceled, obviously. And then there was interest still to, hey, there's this other fest. You want to try to do this? Sure. And I showed up to that. I think we showed up to that festival. And we're like, oh, it's like this is sick. This is awesome.
I think by that point, I think it started in like 2015, and the promoter, I don't know, like friend of a friend. I think he was like a teenager when he started it, and like Higher Power joined in with it, and it's like a cool scene, you know.
It's
I remember watching you there, thinking, I love how grumpy you guys look. I really enjoyed it.
I'm probably the only one that's actually grumpy, but I do think that we have a collective scowl about us on stage. Well, I was particularly grumpy at Outbreak because some fucking guy jumped up and grabbed me while I was trying to sing, and I don't like being touched, let alone grabbed while I'm trying to do my job.
No touchy.
No touchy. That's number one rule of the band is no touchy. Do not touch me ever.
You got the whole venue to do whatever you want, and I got this like 5-foot area.
Well, that won't happen at Outbreak in London. It's at Victoria Park. It's the first time Outbreak's happened in London. Victoria Park is where they have like All Points East, which is like the festival that LCD Sound System will headline.
Wild.
You know, it's one of them.
Nice. I hope that I don't come in contact with a single person the whole entire day.
Only me trying to get an interview backstage.
Yeah. That's fine, but just as long as you don't do it on stage, I'm cool with it.
Mid-song.
Hey, thanks for the chat. I got one question to ask you, which is, you know, on the theme of part-time jobs, I've fucked up at every job I've ever had. You know, like I was like a laborer and nearly like chopped off a finger and just like completely ruined this guy's driveway, you know, and I feel like working at the bar, at the pub, I just smash everything, and just a lot of embarrassing moments. And especially when you're new, it's like, oh, you know, it's like, it's a feeling that's unlike any other. You just feel incredibly embarrassed. And I feel like that's actually quite like a ubiquitous thing. And most people have that kind of experience.
I got a story. So I still work, actually. I do still have a job, but I was working in the office, and you know, everything's like kind of like work from home. Every once in a while I go in. Didn't know that the septic, you know, all the pipes are backed up. I didn't know. So, you know, it's 10 a.m. I had my coffee. I go downstairs. You do my thing, and I go. You go to flush the handle, and it just goes like, you hear that like the chain wiggling. You're like, oh crap. And I'm just sitting. I'm like, it probably was in summer, so I was like sweating. I was just like, what do I do? I know I need to get the water in there to get the vacuum to suck out. So I find a big cup or like a jug, and I run to the other bathroom, and I'm dumping it in the back and trying to dump it in the back of the other toilet just to get it to flush. And by the end of it, I just was like, I just gotta blame this on someone else.
You gave up.
Just left.
Dude, I would have stuck my hand in the toilet, picked it out, put it in my pocket, and just went about my day.
In my experience, the nicer the building, the fucking more of a state the toilet is. I mean, I'm always surprised how gross office toilets are. They should be pristine. It's a place of respect.
Yeah, I'll say.
So I feel bad for the janitor. I mean, this is kind of like a warehouse, so they probably were expecting some sort of mess in there. But I just left. I was so embarrassed. I've never told that story. So
can you get this is a good place to do it as any other.
No one's ever mentioned it to me either. Unspoken.
Like, Jake, why your face was so red that morning? I wonder why. How about you, Taylor?
I was going to say, speaking of jobs, the other day, it might have even been last night, I was thinking about this, and I haven't thought about it in years. I lived with, this is like early on in us touring, and we weren't even touring that much at the time, like probably like, you know, a week or two here and there, but wanting to tour more. And my stepdad, who's like, he's dead now, but he did not like me a ton. And he was like, I had this job interview at some warehouse, and he was like, all right, I'll drive you to your interview. And my parents were definitely like, you have to get this job. Because I was just like, I want to play rock music. I don't really have time for this. But it's not like I had any money. It's not like my parents, like, it's not like they were giving me money. I was just sort of like perpetually broke. And I went to this interview, did the whole thing, like, did the interview, did good, I guess. It might have just been like a shitty job that anybody could have got the job at. But like the supervisor, whoever was interviewing me, seemed to get a good vibe from me, walked me around, introduced me to people. At the end, he's essentially like, all right, man. Like, shook my hand. He was kind of like, you got the job. And he's like, you got any questions? I was like, yeah. Listen, I'm a musician and I'm gonna want to go on tour from time to time. Like, not all the time, but sometimes. And he was like, yeah, man, that's not gonna work. And I just totally didn't. The job was revoked. And I was just like, man, my stepdad was mad when I got back in the truck. And I was like, yeah, I mean, things were looking good until I told him. And I'm just like, that is so crazy because that I was probably like 19, maybe 20 at the time. And I wouldn't do that now. I would just get the fucking job and then work the thing until I had to go on tour and be like, yo, I'm really sorry, but in 2 weeks, I'm calling it. And then my family would still, they'd be mad then, but like at least I would have had a job and made money for like a couple months or something. But yeah, I'm not like a job person. I really am ashamed to say it, but like I have a really hard time like working with, like, being a musician is pretty casual.
Yeah.
So like your coworkers are your friends, and I can like kind of choose how much time I spend with them for the most part. And like, but having actual coworkers that is just you're just a lottery of personalities, and you're just kind of like, I hate this fucking guy, and I have to sit next to him every single day, and I resent that about day jobs, like just like, or the person that is in charge of you could be an incompetent dickhead, and you're just like, this is my job. I can't really tell him to suck a dick. You know what I mean? So I very much have a hard time with that. So it is nice being in a band where there's really nobody I can tell any of them to suck a dick, and they're not going to take it to heart.
You can do a lot in a band that doesn't get you fired from it, that would get you fired from a regular job. Hey, thanks for the time. Thanks for the chat. New record is sick. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
And looking forward to Outbreak.
Yeah. See you there, man.
See you then. Have a good week. And good luck on release day. I hope nothing bad happens.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks.
So there was Taylor and Jake of Superheaven here on 101 Part-Time Jobs. Superheaven's self-titled record is out this Friday. It sounds mega. Go and buy it from your local record store. See them this year wherever you can. Follow them on the socials for that. Don't tell them it's mid. First of all, because it's not, but otherwise because it's rude. Nice one. Go back and listen to recent episodes with Scowl, with Bob Mould, Pigs x7, Hamilton Lighthouser, The Hold Steady. Loads of great stuff on 101. Thanks for being here. This Thursday, we're hearing from Valerie June.
101 Part-Time Jobs is hosted by Giles Bidder and produced by me, Olivia Swash. This has been a Mighty Moon Media production.